so this week we are going to be talking about racism and diversity. This is a topic that's been at the forefront of many conversations this year due to the George Floyd and the Breonna instances and the Black Lives Matter movement. And it's important to know that this, racial injustice isn't a trending issue. It's something that's been around for years, and sadly it's still around. And it's not just in America, it's worldwide, and it's a lot closer to home than a lot of us would like to believe. And so we're just going to look into the importance of seeing it from a Christian faith point of view, and how we can play a part in just knowing that God wants us as people who love him to be really thinking about this, and to be working towards change and getting rid of it. So I'm going to answer a few questions just to share my experience, my perspective, and Lloyd's done the same, so check out his video because it's great. So we've done this just to show the importance of different perspectives and listening to each other and each other's experiences and opinions. As you know, I know for a lot of people, like, we're not good at listening to others, hence why there's riots and demonstrations, and because people don't feel like they're being heard. People are listening, and there's no change happening. So it's just really important to be listening to each other and just educating oneself and understanding better, so know how to respond, and in turn educate others as well, more carefully and just with more intent. So the first question is let me just get it up, sorry. How would you define racism? Okay, so I would define racism as prejudice or hatred or discrimination towards someone of a different ethnicity, like skin colour, or background, like where they're from country-wise, and just treating them less than, and just thinking that you're better, more important, in a nutshell. Next question, where have you witnessed racism and racial injustice? Okay, so for me, this is obviously really close to home, being black myself, if you hadn't noticed, and having grown up as a minority. I know also that compared to a lot of people, I've been quite lucky, if you can call it that. I haven't experienced anything super traumatic like a lot of people, such as altercations with the police, or being sent to prison, or being beaten up, or knowing anyone, family or loved ones who been killed from it. But nonetheless, I have experienced numerous like racial comments and slurs towards me, and people not even acknowledging me in certain situations, like treating me as if I don't exist. Also just people being super awkward around me, not knowing what to say or how to act, because a lot of the times, like, they've never had personal interactions with another black person or person of different ethnicity, to certain instances of being in the store and the security guard following you, workers watching you, thinking that just because you're black you're going to steal something, people just being super offensive, patronising towards Africa, where I'm from, due to just coming from their viewpoint of just having seen it in the media and not actually having been there themselves. So that's super annoying. There's just a few, but there's so many, but it's just a few. So next, what is your experience of racism? How has it affected you personally? Okay, so I've just shared a couple of my experiences, but how has it affected me personally? I mean, definitely it's it makes you super insecure and feel inferior. And I know a big one for me growing up has been not being represented on, you know, in the media and television shows or the magazines, in terms of having a beauty standard that doesn't look like me, you know, having white skin or like blue eyes, long straight hair, like, you know, that obviously plays massively, and it played massively on my insecurity and not feeling attractive or of value. But luckily, obviously, I'm over that, and I see myself more, how God sees me, and I value myself a lot more. But that really affected me. Okay, so next, how do you think the world views racism? Well, clearly it's still a hot mess because, you know, these incidences of the George Floyd and Breonna are still happening. People are still being killed and mistreated, you know, and there's so much of it happening that we're seeing on media, and that's just the ones that we're seeing. There's so many others that we don't see, sadly. So yeah, there's still a long way to go, but I'm glad that obviously people are having conversation about it and educating themselves, and at the end of the day, change starts with you. So just hope that this can really be of change to a lot of people going forward. Okay, so next, how do you think God views racism? I believe that he hates it with a passion. Just the fact, you know, we're made in his image, we all his children, and you know, we all made, and we're all fearfully and wonderfully made at that, all made with a purpose, you know. And I just think we are, like, no, he's obviously our Father, and no parent would want their children to mistreat each other. And you know, the first most important commandment is to love God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul. And we're not doing that if we are mistreating each other. You know, if we we are racist towards others and have prejudice, because Jesus didn't have any prejudice, and we're called to be like him and follow him. So, you know, and it says as loving God is the most important commandment, but the second to that is loving each other as you'd love yourself. So yeah, everything stems from the first commandment, and we're obviously breaking it if we're not. So yeah. So, and there's also, you know, there's a couple of verses which you can have a read. I'll quickly point out. And there's Micah 6:8, there's Isaiah 1:17, there's Proverbs 29:7, Jeremiah 22:13, and so many others which show how God really feels about racism. I'll show you, that'll tell you he detests it. Okay, so the next question, if you could make others aware of something, what would it be and why? I would just want people to realise that, you know, racism is real and it still does exist. Just because you haven't experienced something or haven't experienced it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. You know, and I always say, like, especially in our culture in the UK, like, everything's swept under the carpet, so just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not there. It's like a big elephant in the room. And I just think it's just, I realise that, you know, these conversations bring up a lot of deep-rooted issues, but it's just so important to be having these conversations for change and just acknowledging them and accepting them, and then working together for that change, as God would want us to. You know, and so there are lots of ways that we can fight injustice, and I've put a link below with what you can do. Like, a couple of them I'll read out is speak out against racial injustice when you see it in your daily life, listen to friends who have experienced racism, educate yourself through books and podcasts and documentaries. There's lots online. Lloyd has recommended a book, and there's also one amongst many which is called We Need to Talk About Race by Ben Lindsay. Praying is really important. for change and for wisdom to know how to move forward in accordance with God's mission, and pray, that God would help you forgive others who have hurt you, because I realise also there's probably some of you who are experiencing this racism, and it's so important for you to know that you're not alone. You have God who's your comforter, but we're also here to support you and help you. So feel free to come to us at any time, okay, for a chat. So I'll give that a link, and there's also a link of conversation with some guys, which is really good, so have a listen to that as well. And then one more link to a song called We All Bleed the Same, which is also great for this topic, for this issue. And just remember, it's just so important to listen to each other, and to know that it's only God that defines you, and not anything or anyone else. That's the most important thing, what he thinks of you. So yeah, I'm sure this is the beginning, and it's not the last of this conversation, so it's to be continued. So I look forward to seeing you all, and talking more about it, and just teaching each other and learning from each other. So yeah, I hope you all stay blessed, and I look forward to seeing you all again soon. So take care. Bye.